On August 10, 2018, a team of researchers studying marmots in Washington's Olympic Mountains made a disturbing discovery: a set of human remains. The body was identified as Jacob Gray, a young man who had vanished over a year earlier. But things got stranger. When more search teams arrived the following day, they uncovered bones belonging to not one, but 3 different people. Alongside Jacob's remains, they found fragments from 2 other individuals: a cell phone, tattered clothing, and a wallet. Even more bizarre, 3 arrows were stuck upright in the ground nearby. When data was pulled from the recovered phone, it suggested something horrific. Jacob may have been hunted and killed by something massive, a possible giant humanoid. The sheriff on the case even speculated that the area might be a human dumping ground, or perhaps even a nest. Let's rewind. Jacob Gray vanished in early April 2017, a time when Northwest Washington was still gripped by freezing weather. But Jacob, a skilled mountaineer and avid surfer, wasn't one to be deterred. He grew up in Santa Cruz, California, and lived for outdoor adventure. Obsessed with the wilderness, he decided to set off into the Olympic Mountains without telling anyone. On the evening of April 4th, amid heavy rain, Jacob loaded up his gear and set out. He was on a bicycle pulling a custom trailer his father had modified. This trailer, compact and rugged, carried everything: food, camping supplies, and a composite bow with arrows, useful for hunting or protection. His target? The Hoh rainforest deep within Olympic National Park. Now, this park is unique, nestled in the northwest corner of Washington, bordered by the Pacific Ocean. It features beaches, dense forests, and snowy peaks, with climates that shift dramatically. Importantly, 96% of it is pristine wilderness, untouched since it gained protection in 1976. Jacob was lured by its wild, mysterious atmosphere. But just 2 days later, on April 6th, hikers on the Sol Duc Trail stumbled across something troubling: Jacob's gear. His bike and trailer were found tipped over, covered with a tarp. Everything was still inside. That same day, Officer John Bowie and Huo Lingen examined the scene and found a notebook identifying the owner as 22-year-old Jacob Gray. Nearby were 4 arrows, stuck straight into the earth. Here's what's weird. The bike and trailer were in perfect condition. No flat tires, no damage. Following the trail from there leads to the temperate rainforest and up into the alpine heights of Lynx Ridge. Once Jacob was declared missing, local authorities acted fast. The next day, 30 officers and K-9 units combed the area. Jacob's parents arrived quickly, putting up missing person posters at trailheads and rest stops, hoping someone had seen him. But after a month of searching, no trace was found. Then, over a year later, on August 10th, 2018, a breakthrough. Researchers stumbled upon a human leg bone near Lynx Ridge and alerted the Clallam County Sheriff. Police arrived the next day, and after venturing into the forest were met with a foul stench. They discovered more bones, scraps of clothing, a phone, and a wallet. A short distance away, they located a broken post, a backpack with food and a water filter, and a collapsed tent. Again, 3 arrows were stuck upright in the ground. The items matched Jacob's gear, but according to Sheriff Will, they found more than just Jacob's remains. Some bones belonged to other humans, and even animals. The coroner confirmed that additional remains came from 2 other missing persons: Jack Maxim, a 34-year-old hunter gone missing in 2010, and Diane Bruno, a 33-year-old hiker last seen in 2012. Jack vanished during a hunting trip, Diane while hiking alone. Jack and Diane's bones were far more decomposed, completely bleached, suggesting long exposure. The discovery site wasn't near a campsite either. It was found 11 miles from the Sol Duc Trail, in a brutally remote section of the park, 6,000 feet above sea level, a place even seasoned climbers would find hard to reach. No signs of human activity were found nearby. If someone was disposing of bodies out there, it would be like they were a ghost. There were no shelters, no caves, no hidden camp, nothing. Even more telling, Jacob's wallet, complete with cash and credit cards, was left untouched. A careful killer wouldn't do that. Wild animals? Unlikely. Jack was an experienced hunter, armed with a high-caliber rifle and machete. It's hard to believe even predators in Olympic could overpower him. And how the bones were found, grouped oddly, with leg bones and ribs together, pelvises and other fragments off to the side, doesn't match animal behavior. Then investigators found something else, a short video on Jacob's phone. just a few seconds, but chilling, it showed a black, furred creature standing upright staring at Jacob's tent. Tanya Barbara, a Bigfoot researcher, viewed the footage and said it confirmed her worst fears. Jacob may have been killed and consumed by Bigfoot. Tanya is part of a leading research team that's been investigating Bigfoot sightings since 2008 and assisting in missing persons cases in forests across America. She shared her theory with law enforcement. But even with that lead, authorities couldn't say for sure what had happened. Further digging into Jacob's phone revealed another clue. He'd tried calling 911 on the night of April 5th, but the call never connected due to bad reception. Jacob's mother, Laura, later contacted psychic Lynn May, who claimed Jacob had been fleeing for his life that night, so desperate he left his belongings behind. Lynn said Jacob had been caught and brought back. Whatever had chased him, she claimed, was not human. Despite Lynn and Tanya's statements supporting the Bigfoot theory, many questions remain. Why were Jacob's bike and trailer discovered 11 miles from his remains? Why were both sites marked with stakes or arrows? Was Jacob trying to communicate something? Based on his route, it appears Jacob was traveling southeast from the Sol Duc Trail toward Woe Campground. He likely biked in until he could go no further, then ditched the trailer and hid it with a tarp, marking it carefully. He only took what he needed: a tent, a backpack, a water filter, and his bow and arrows. He made camp somewhere secluded. That night, April 5th, Jacob heard something strange just outside his tent. It wasn't the typical rustle of wind through branches or the distant call of wildlife. This was deliberate, heavy, unsettling. Something, or someone, was out there. Fear surged through him. Alone, vulnerable, and deep in an unforgiving wilderness, Jacob made a split-second decision. He bolted. Abandoning his gear, he ran into the dark forest, desperate to escape whatever was stalking him. By morning, he managed to gather his composure enough to document what he believed had been following him. Using his phone through a small telescope, he captured footage of a massive figure, covered in dark fur, upright and silent, looming near his abandoned campsite. The creature easily dwarfed his tent, which stood just over 3 feet tall. It wasn't merely its size that unsettled Jacob. It was the way it watched, calculating, still, as if it understood. This wasn't some lumbering animal reacting to fear or instinct. It was something far more intelligent, far more territorial. It observed before it moved, and once it chose to act, it was already too late for its prey to escape. Jacob had a composite bow, arrows, survival tools, but none of it would have been enough. Against something that large, fast, and potentially predatory, his options were few. Even if he tried to fight, his chances were slim. Even if he tried to flee, he wouldn't have outrun it. Despite the eerie footage and strange findings, Jacob's parents never fully subscribed to the Bigfoot theory. They clung to more conventional explanations. His mother, Laura, believed her son may have fallen victim to a bear attack, or perhaps a deadly rock slide. Something tragic, but explainable. She told investigators that Jacob had changed after her divorce from his father, Randy. Once cheerful and adventurous, he had become increasingly withdrawn. He left community college not long after enrolling and began working at a local rock climbing gym, seeking solace in physical challenge and solitude. Still, Jacob never stopped dreaming. He saw himself as a modern-day nomad, a soul chasing freedom across the map. The Olympic Mountains were just the beginning. His ultimate goal was to make it to Florida, where he planned to reconnect with his brother. But that journey never came to pass. Months after his disappearance, Jacob's father returned to the site where his son's remains had been found. In the thick, lonely wilderness, Randy discovered a small bone, part of Jacob's finger. Rather than handing it over to authorities, he made a deeply personal decision. He dug a small grave right there on the mountain, gently placed the bone inside, and marked the spot with a cross made from rope and wood. A memorial, a promise, a father's way of saying goodbye. Jacob wasn't the only one whose life ended on that mountain. Jack Maxim and Diane Bruno, both of whom had vanished years earlier, were also linked to that same remote stretch of forest. Their remains, scattered and sun-bleached, told no clear story. Like Jacob, they had entered the wilderness seeking solitude or challenge, but they never came out. Whatever happened to them remains locked in the silence of the trees. The Olympic Mountains, ancient, vast, and largely untouched, have always carried a certain mystique. For all our maps and satellites, there are still corners so wild, so remote, that they resist human understanding. The truth behind the disappearances of Jacob Gray, Jack Maxim, and Diane Bruno may one day come to light, but for now the answers remain buried beneath thick canopies and moss-covered stones. The mountain still holds its secrets, and it isn't ready to let them go.